everyone. I'm Kaela Hansen, your co-host at the One Soccer Nation podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Croix Soto. Croix is a professional soccer player at AFC Toronto now. Thank you for taking the time today. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and I'm doing super well. Thanks for asking.
I heard you had fitness testing today. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. Honestly, shocked myself, so that's always good. I'm glad it's over. And yeah, now we have a few days off, and we are back at it on Monday.
That's good. Okay, so you've had an impressive journey from college soccer to the NWSL and now with AFC Toronto. Looking back a little bit, how did your time at the University of Oregon shape you, both as a player and as a person, especially in terms of your development as a center back?
Great question. I honestly give so much credit to my coaches at the University of Oregon because I feel like it really helps when you have a whole bunch of adversity and you have to go through a whole bunch of different types of things. Nothing was ever easy. We were always the underdogs. And with our coaching staff, we actually had like individual development plans for a whole winter term. And I feel like that actually like took my game to the complete next level. We worked on every single like strength and weakness and kind of like honed in, sharpened all our tools like in our little toolbox, and then we're able to just kind of grow and become better because without that, I don't know where I would be today, honestly. And I always tell my coaches that as well. So
Hmm.
very, very grateful for that and very grateful for my coaches, my college, my academic support,
Yeah,
like everything.
that's good. Do you have any like specifics in terms
Mm.
of as a player, maybe an example as a player and as a person that we would say developed you from being a center back?
Yeah, I think as a player, we did a lot of like it was literally like my three coaches and then me, and then they would give me a task to do on the ball. Whether it was they would play me in the air, I would chase it down, turn, and then find like my target little mini goals,
Hmm.
right and left foot, and then like some technical work as well, like dribbling through whatever it was, either like to a line or through cones, and
Hmm.
then finishing into a mini goal as well, pretending that was like a higher player or a pass I needed to complete. Um, and then wait, what was the other part of that question?
And then as a person.
Oh yeah, as a person, I feel like I became really compassionate and just kind of became a real team player. Like
Hmm.
I said, we were never like the best, but like as a team, we were really close and we always had each other's back. So I just really learned like how to collaborate, how to be a team player, how to be nice to everybody because we needed everybody. You couldn't have anyone not on the same page. And I really like bought into what we were trying to do as well. So I feel like that kind of shaped me into who I am today as well.
That's good. Now, kind of transitioning from college to the NWSL is a huge leap.
Usually,
You were very
yes.
impressive during your trial with the North Carolina Courage. I did my research.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
what did you learn about yourself during that trial and how to prepare you for you eventually signing with the Kansas City Current?
Yeah, so that was something. You kind of don't know what to expect until you're in it, of course. And you know, NWSL is very sought after in the US. It honestly taught me to be so humble and to just keep my head down and keep working. Like, even if I wasn't going to get a contract there, like, I knew I was going to get it somewhere else. I knew that was kind of just like a stepping stone in the right direction. I was only there for a very short stint. I think it was like the end of January through February, and then I think I left in March. And I think that's when I got my first contract. But yeah, it just kind of showed me like it doesn't matter if it's not going to work out. Like, keep your head down and keep working type of
Mhm.
thing. Like, your time will come. And I feel like that really like put life into perspective, put soccer into perspective. Like, that was a very humbling moment, but I learned a lot. So that was also really nice.
Hmm. And I can imagine too, like you're going from being like the big fish
Yeah.
college, being the senior, going back to being the little fish again. Can you
Yes.
maybe go into detail with like kind of that feeling? Like,
Yes. I definitely think my senior and junior of college, you kind of like know how everything works, you know, the lay of the land and everything.
mhm,
And then you leave. And I always joke with my friends, I'm always like, you always leave college when you've now got the hang of it. And
mhm,
then going to the NWSL, everything was bigger, faster, stronger. People were more technical.
Hmm.
Decisions were way quicker. It just kind of felt like I was thrown out like to fend for myself with the sharks, and you just kind of have to like be a sponge and be able to absorb everything and soak in all the different languages, the information, the tactics, like from every single different angle. And you just have to have an open mind. You can't be
Hmm.
defensive because honestly, you know nothing. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like that really helped as well. Just kind of all the stuff I've learned, that was huge.
And I also feel like too, there's like always like an unspoken kind of like respect towards like
The
your
elders,
elder, but like
but
the more
experience,
experienced ones, yeah,
of
that have been
course.
there. So it's like kind of like it's like an unspoken thing where you kind of have to like know your place,
Yes,
and talk through like your hard work on the field.
100%.
And then as you get more comfortable, obviously you can kind of, make your mark a bit more and use your voice a bit more, I can imagine.
Yes.
But how was the trial in North Carolina different from KC Current?
As a trialist, you're kind of not like seen, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes any sense. You're kind of just there to prove yourself and everybody else wrong, which is kind of like a little exhausting as well. Especially when you know you're good enough to be there, you're showing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but sometimes it just doesn't work out like in your favor. But it was a lot of like the stuff you don't see like on camera in the videos, in the photos, like a lot of behind the scenes, like it was a grind, like
Mm-hmm.
no doubt, put your head down, work. Like it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I can imagine.
Yes.
Do you have any like specific moments that you remember that made it really challenging?
Yes, like everyone held everybody to the utmost high standard. They
Hmm.
didn't even care that you were new type of thing, which I
I
I
like that.
liked that,
Yeah.
yes, but also like there was so much information like to be able to process that and execute is a little bit challenging, of course, but it
Hmm.
just kind of makes you have to like either hop on the ship or like get left type of thing.
Hmm.
And I would say that's like the biggest thing. Like that was a challenge for me because speed of play was quick, yeah, but like I
Hmm.
watched soccer, like
Yeah.
it wasn't as crazy as like the brains part of it or like the
Yeah.
details, the tiny,
Hmm.
tiny details that you don't even think about, but now you have to implement and execute with.
Yeah. So like the receiving the information part probably
100%.
be overwhelming.
Very overwhelming and a lot of it. And the sessions
Hmm.
were so intense.
Hmm. I can imagine.
Yes.
So you've experienced a lot of changes in your early professional career, including moving from KC Current, Houston Dash, and now you're at AFC Toronto. How have you managed the personal and professional adjustments required when joining new teams? And how do you stay grounded through all of it?
Oh, that's a great question.
Take your
On it,
time. Think about
yeah.
it, you don't have to answer right away.
Um, I honestly think I'm just so grateful for every opportunity that has like arisen. And I just take everything day by day. Super grateful, super humble. Just try to really enjoy it because when you're in it, it's super, super hard to kind of just be like, take a deep breath. Like, I'm in the moment. Like, this is kind of my
Mhm.
life. Like, we're living a very fast life, and you just have to like relax, enjoy it. You're playing soccer, like, you're doing what you love. Um, and I just think finding friends and like community within the places that I've been have really, really, really helped me. Obviously, communicating with my parents, they ground me, my friends.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, just kind of being like a part of the community. Like, for example, in KC, I had a whole bunch of families that I was really close with
Mhm.
that would like invite me over for dinner or like I'd watch their kids play soccer. Just like to have kind of a home away from home was really, really helpful. And just kind of help slow things down in the mix of all the chaos as well, which is also really nice and like really good for mental health as well to just kind of
Mhm.
have like life outside of ball.
Mhm. No, I agree with you. Just to touch on what you just said, like making sure it's hard to balance all that stuff. Like, especially like when we were in college and like
It
I
was only
feel
soccer.
like you can disagree with me, Juan, but I feel like it's a little less taxing now.
Yeah.
in like now because we don't really have to worry about school
School.
necessarily. So I feel like it was definitely a lot harder in college having to manage your social life, school, and your sport. Like it's
100%.
a lot. It's a lot
And
different. Yeah.
and now it's like just soccer for the first half of the day and then you have nothing.
Mhm.
So I was like really grateful that I had these families to like cook me dinner or to hang out with their kids. Like it just kind of
Mhm.
felt like I was like a real person, like and not just a soccer player. And I feel like people don't have that balance, but it really,
Yeah.
really helps.
But it is, you're right. Like it's super important to try to find a balance, like try to find a support system, sorry, can't
It's okay.
talk.
No worries.
Try to find a support system outside of soccer and then also trying to find time just for yourself too. It is really important for your mental health. Like, 'cause
100%.
if you're not good up there, it's going to translate to what you do on the field. And I think that's something, I agree with you, really important that we do really need to put attention
Balance.
onto as well. It's not always just about soccer, it's like what we do outside of it as well.
100%.
Yeah. So like you're within the first few weeks now with your preseason or first week of preseason with AFC Toronto, I would know. How are you doing with it so far? Like how has it felt? Like do you enjoy it? Like are there challenges? How is it? Be
And
completely authentically yourself when you answer that.
enjoying it for sure.
Hmm.
Making some friends, which has
Hmm.
been great. It seems like it's going to be a good group of girls. Obviously, we're all brand new, have no idea what anybody strengths or weaknesses are,
Hmm.
style of plays,
Hmm.
um, limits are, if you will, either. So just been kind of a bit of a learning curve this first week for sure. But I'm super excited, and everybody seems like to really be passionate and like really want it a common goal. So I'm really excited to kind of get after it this season. In addition, honestly, like the group, oh, we also come from all different backgrounds, which is also really fun. And like getting to learn new cultures and
Yeah.
like learn about people's past experiences has been really fun and like kind of is interesting to like hear everybody's different stories and their journeys as well, like how
Hmm.
everybody ended up here.
Yeah. No, I definitely, because I'm on your team, so I can touch on it too. I definitely feel like coming from Europe, like going to a team in Europe and then going to a team like in North America is like
Yeah,
very different transition.
100%. Yeah, I'm
Like
sure. Yeah.
at least for me, when I went to Europe, I feel like you're more kind of on your own,
Yes.
very new cultures, like,
You have no
new
idea.
people, like, like new way of living and stuff like that. And I also feel like in Europe, everyone moves a lot slower and it's a lot slower moving. And I found that when I was there, I had a lot more time to myself,
Yeah.
like a lot more me time. I spent a lot more time with myself, which I needed. Like I grew
Yeah.
a lot and learned how to be able to just be on my own and be good with that and stuff like that. But I also made friendships in a different way with like different people for different backgrounds. And then coming back here, it's like I feel like it's more of like a comfort zone for me where it's like more so people I've grown up with, like the kind of people I've grown up with my whole entire life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
even in America
100%.
and Canada, I feel like it's people that I've known and grown up with, like can be around. And also just like the way of living is so much more quicker.
Yes.
We're going from like 9 to 4, but
Yeah.
it like low key goes quick because it's just the way
A-
like the whole day I feel like just goes so quickly. And
It's
then
a
we come
flat.
home and I feel like we're going to sleep and we're waking up the next day and doing the same thing again. Like
Yes.
the way of moving is so much more different. And I feel like it's a lot easier too to lean on people here,
Yeah.
lean on like have a more of a support system and stuff like that. And like, but it's also too like not to get caught up, in just like being with people all the time, like still trying to find time to ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it is very different. But it is nice to kind of be, back in
Comfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
back in a place where it's just more so people
The norm.
yeah, like people I've been around my whole life.
Yeah.
And I don't love my European friends that I've made along the way because I love them and stuff like that. But like, you get what I'm saying?
It's just
Like,
so different. It's like, yeah,
it is. It
it's like a
really is.
home, even though we're both away from home, it's like a home away from home. And like
It's,
the friendships we've been able to
it's a lot
establish
easier to connect.
way easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we all have very similar experiences, whether it's college or
Mhm.
professional. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. Because culturally, it's super similar. Like
Yeah.
all of North America is very, very similar.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Okay, so your move to AFC Toronto marks the beginning of something new for both you and the club, with the Northern Super League launching in 2025 as one of the league's early players. How excited are you about helping build something from the ground up? And what do you hope to bring to the team on and off the field?
Super excited to be a part of, first of all, this new league
Mm-hmm.
starting from the ground up. I feel like you're never able to say that you started something or like be the
Mm-hmm.
pioneer for something. So that's also kind of what drew me into this league. To the second part of your question, I feel like saying on the field,
Yeah.
I'll bring like physicality, vocal, being super vocal, being a good teammate, bringing my speed, my aerial presence,
Mm-hmm.
as well. And then off the field, I feel like just like making sure everybody feels seen, heard, respected, good vibes, like kind of like the glue almost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I just really hope that's like more than enough to get us to be successful, honestly. Like I'm excited. Obviously,
I
so
agree. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah, like I feel like it's we nobody has any expectations. So we just have to kind of exceed our own expectations, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like it is a new league, so there really isn't, expectations that can be really set yet. So we kind of have to
Yeah,
set our own. No, I agree. And I agree with you too, Croy. Like from what I've gone to know about you, I'll try to be nice. What I've gone to know, I'm kidding. What I've gone to know about you, since I've met you so far, is you're very much like a person who gets along with everyone. Like, I feel like you are the glue. Like, you'll bring people together and you very much get along with everyone and you're very much inclusive. And I think that's really important, especially when you're starting a very new team who don't know each other at all from the ground up. It's like, obviously, not everyone has to hang out with everyone all the
of
time. There's obviously going to be
course.
stronger connections than others. But when it comes to
Yeah,
being a team, on the field and off the field, like things we're doing together, it's important that, we're all have the same mindset, we're on the same goal, same page, and then we're getting along with each other,
100%.
But I think you will be like a really important part in like, getting the team together and keeping us like glued. So
Very nice.
Mm.
Thank you.
I know I can be nice sometimes. Okay, so you've experienced some setbacks, like missing some games due to injury and dealing with some coaching changes. How do you maintain mental toughness during such uncertain times, and what role does resilience play in your career?
Um, During injury, I would say just kind of like it's really hard when you're like kind of removed from the team to like still feel part of the team, but if there's a way for you to like my experience, I never felt too disconnected from the team because like my friends were so good, but just like kind of focusing on yourself and like doing whatever you can to get back with the team because like that's kind of what the team needs.
Hmm.
Um, Taking your rehab seriously, taking your strengthening seriously, taking your nutrition seriously, your recovery, like all the
Hmm.
things that like are behind the scenes, make sure you're doing all those to the best of your ability. And then um obviously like with time you'll be back. And then with coaching changes, like obviously that's not in your control along with the injuries. You can do as much as you can to maintain no injuries, but stuff's gonna happen. But with coaching changes, honestly, just like having a positive mindset and like understanding that most of the time a whole new staff is coming in and so everybody's having to reprove
Hmm.
themselves. So it just is like another opportunity to show like why you should be playing or why you should be doing what you're doing type of thing. And I feel like that's happened so much in this game. Like I feel like I've gone through so many coaches just in my professional career. Even college, I had a coaching change. Kansas, I had a coaching change. Houston, I had a coaching change. Like I've had a lot of coaching changes. Um, So yeah, just kind of sticking with it and just kind of like being you and like the truth will come to the light. Like
I
it
agree.
all it always seems to, doesn't it?
It does. It does at the end of the day. And I agree with the what you just said. Like, you're gonna go through like a lot of different, like you may not always have the coach you start with and stuff like
Ex
that, but it is important to just stay true to yourself. And, obviously there's gonna be coaches you like and you don't like, and there's gonna
yes.
be things that they coach differently from that you're used to and that, may not be a fan of. But at the end of the day, like you have to just be yourself. Like at the same time, you kind of have to play the game
Yeah.
then a little bit, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like play it a little bit because you want to play, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to buy into a little bit, also still, be yourself and bring what, you bring to the table. Because at the end of the day, like, there's no point in doing something if you're not being true to yourself, if you're not happy, if you're not playing how you want to play. And sometimes, not all coaches are going to like that. And then you're going to get
Yeah.
coaches who love that. And
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
finding the balance and finding
The
your
right
place.
fit.
Yeah, the right place that you feel like you belong. Like, you don't have to stay somewhere you don't want to stay.
Exactly.
Like, there's always a place for someone, there's always a
Exactly.
place where they
Especially
can feel belong.
especially with all these new leagues, it's like it's great. Like
hmm
there's really a place for everyone.
There is. Um, Okay, so as someone who has played at a high level in women's soccer, how have you seen the landscape for women in sports evolve during your career, and what changes do you hope to see in the future to further elevate women's soccer globally?
So in college, we had pretty good turnout at all of our games.
hmm
We would go to games and there's very good turnouts. Like every game was fairly good. Obviously, some better than others, so that was cool to see.
hmm
Um, wait, did you say women's sports or women's soccer?
I said, as someone who's played at a high level in women's soccer,
Oh, okay.
and like as you who played in a high,
Yeah,
like where do you want to see the landscape for women's sports?
got it. No, I was just gonna say, like with women's sports, like going to the University of Oregon, it was incredible to see our women's
hmm
basketball sold out and our men's basketball not sold out. And I remember growing up and going to LA Sparks WNBA basketball games and
hmm
UCLA women and USC women, and there was nobody in the stands. Like, and so to see that, like a few years later, was incredible. And then to
hmm
see that kind of like trickle into women's soccer has also been insane.
hmm
During my professional career at Kansas City, our turnout was unreal.
hmm
Like
That's so
our, it was insane. Like I don't even know how many people would come to our game, but like 11,000 plus. Like we had a game in LA. I think there was 21,000 something. Like it
cool.
was in, you could not even talk in the field. Like that week before, we practiced passing notes like on the field. Um, and so I just feel like it's come such a long way. I also remember when the first, was it WSL with LA Soul? I don't know. I remember watching Marta, the Home Depot Center back home, and there was fans, but it wasn't like this impactful. And like these fans get season tickets, like they're super loyal. They come every weekend, like every week. They're just a little bit more invested, which I love to see. And I'm loving to see like the investment from the men's side
hmm
as well. Like I have a few friends that I know that are investing in women's sports more because they're realizing like if you invest, it's gonna like only help.
hmm
Um, so yeah, it's kind of been a crazy like 360 moment. Like I'm super happy to see women finally getting the recognition they deserve, and I'm just excited to continue to see it grow.
No, that's super amazing. I feel like it is really important that, not only, like you said, you have a few friends that are really investing themselves in it. And I feel like it's really important that it's not only women doing it, but men are doing it
Exactly.
too, because the more we spread it through all genders, the more that it will grow. Because,
Exactly.
men's sports have naturally always been kind of more invested in. And I
Yeah,
feel
and
like,
appealing.
they
Yeah.
could use that privilege, like that privilege to help invest in women's sports and like grow it. Like especially, with the whole NSL starting now too.
It's
Um,
even better.
exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
and a lot of them have daughters. So
Hmm.
it's really, really good to see these professional basketball players, professional football players like invest because they realize, oh shoot, like this is like really taking off. Like it's actually a really big
Hmm.
deal. And it's just
Hmm.
really cool to see, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I feel like too, like when they know they have someone like a daughter or a niece or
or
like,
anything.
cousins or little sisters and stuff like that, or just a little team you coach or something like that, they really look up to you and, to see someone that they could be someday, like to see whether sports like in their country or something like that, to be able to really like look up to these kids, to these like professional players and be like, I could be them someday and I could actually do this.
100%. 100%.
Okay, so Croy, thank you again for taking the time to be on the One Soccer Nation podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me again. That was so much fun.